Hello everyone and welcome back to the Crypton Research channel. Today we are going to be doing an ICO review on the Global Metrology Project, or GMP for short. In this video we will cover the management team and the white paper like always, but before we begin I want to remind you, what we say in this video is for informational purposes only, and we are only expressing our opinions. It is not investment advice and you should do your own due diligence. So with that, let's begin. Alrighty, so on this page you can see all the members of their team. I'm sure they will be adding more, but for now this is what they have, or at least what they're showing us. But I'll just go over a couple of them and then you guys can look at the rest on your own. So Sergey and Igor are the co-founders of the GMP project. There isn't much information on Sergey, but Igor, there is some information. He is a specialist in project development, which makes sense because he is the project director. He also co-founded several business projects. We don't have any information on those, so I'm guessing that we're going to have to take their word for it. And then Alexander, he is the top manager along with all these other folks. He is the head of planning and development. He worked at 5 banks and has 30 years of experience in management. So I'm going to assume he knows what he's doing because that's plenty of experience. Alright, so the next person of interest is Nikolai. He is the head of business management and analytics. He has managed a staff of over 5,000 people, which is quite a lot, and also was the deputy director of the Scientific Center of Siberian branch of the Russian Academy of Science. So from what I'm reading here, he's a quite organized and technical type of person. So Alexei seems like a pretty important person. He is the head of Department of Innovation and Technology. I'm guessing he's a bright guy. He worked in the private and public sector and is the director of the first certified lab of the GMP project. And then we have Olga here, who is a lawyer, who is really important in my opinion, because this is a complex project and the blockchain and everything is quite new, and there's a lot of gray area, so hopefully she will be able to sail them smoothly through the rough waters. And I might add that she has 16 years of experience as an entrepreneur. And then the last person I'll quickly go over is Elena. Elena is the head of Quality Management Department. She helped organize the first Metrology GMP center and is an expert in implementing quality management systems according to regulations, which is much needed for this project to succeed. So yeah, I won't go over these other 3 members, but I went over most of them really quickly. I encourage you guys to look over the rest on your free time and do a deeper look into the ones that we already looked over. But for now, we will conclude this section and head on over to the white paper.
We're going to be going over GMP's white paper now. In their white paper, it's pretty extensive as they go over everything from the birth of the project to the base of the project, how they're going to be rolling it out, what the world needs from the GMP project, their roadmap, their team, just a bunch of stuff that they're going into, their token release, information about their tokens, that sort of stuff. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. So GMP is the Global Metrology Project. It was developed for addressing the needs of Eurasian countries in the sphere of traceability of measurements in conformity with the quality management standard for the competence of testing and calibration laboratories, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what does that mean? So basically, what is metrology? Metrology is the study of measurements, and you need to have precise measurements in every field: industry, agriculture, construction, transportation, trade, medicine, science, and so on, right? So basically, they're going to be making centers that help facilitating people getting their measurements done quicker and more measurements being carried out. So it was developed by Russian specialists at the request of private companies and state organizations for the purpose of making different measurements and expert examinations, quality control, and production. Just basically having a really good metrology base in Russia so they can get things done quicker and help out the economy overall as a whole. So that's why they're making the GMP, and that's why they started the Global Metrology Project, because this industry apparently needs change and more centers. So the first GMP centers are aimed at providing metrology maintenance of measuring instruments at military industrial complex, industrial safety, environmental protection, and conformity assessment of products. So basically, that's where they first started out, and that's like the first industries that they attended to when they first made their for their first center. So when they started that first center, and basically here they're saying that return on investment in the metrology in the high technology industries can lead up to 400%. In some of them, in which the most advanced, such as new material and nanotechnology investment, can reach 1,000%. So they're saying that there's a lot of growth with newer technologies and the need for precision measurements in just about every aspect of life nowadays. When we can make precision measurements, why would we not? Back then, we didn't really have many. What we had, right? But now we have access to these things, so we will make it perfect in whatever way, in the best way that we can, right? So they're saying that there's a lot of potential for this project. So along with that, they're going to be creating and developing a separate scientific platform, the Innovative Technology Clusters, on the foundation of GMP projects. So basically, they're saying that in these clusters, they're going to be inviting specialists and different scientists in different areas to develop and implement the most prospective ideas and innovative inventions of modern times. So basically, they're going to be inviting in a bunch of scientists and allowing them to do a lot of experiments, and they're going to be able to provide the metrology and a bunch of equipment and access to a lot of things from their centers themselves. So 2014, they started the GMP project. Basically, there was a high demand for metrological services and lack of competition. And also, they were thinking that scientists don't have enough resources to implement their innovative ideas, so they're going to knock two birds out with one stone, was their vision. So first, we're going to talk about how they went about establishing their first GMP center. Was they successful, and what they took away from that? So first, they built a team. Obviously, you had to build a team first, and then they started the first center. And then the third step is to obtain a certificate of authorization of a juridical person in the area of traceability and uniformity of measurement. So basically, that means you have to get certified that you are authorized to work in the area of traceability and uniformity of measurement. So in December of 2015, they accredited that certificate to them, and that's when they were able to launch their first center. So in the first month of operation, they got over 500 customer orders. That sounds like a lot to me. But in general, the verification services in the area were of water. So basically, people were going to them. Regular people were making sure that their meters and their gas, for their gas, electricity, water, were proper, and that they were getting charged the right amount, which is proper. I would definitely want to get that done if I was paying too much. But so the main objective of this GMP center at this stage consisted in the increase of the delivery of product at services 80 to 100% per month, and the expansion of the nomenclature of the verified instruments was at 30 to 40% a month. So basically, they provided more products each month, meaning that as they got more instruments, they were able to reach out to different industries and different people out there who needed metrology in different ways. So in 2016, they got long-term contracts with more than 60 companies. So this is very successful. They're growing at a very nice rate. This business is properly done. And so they did the whole first year, and then they reviewed everything. So I think they go into that a little bit later on. But the achievements of the center during its first year is that they did more than 9,000 private customer orders, more than 200 companies used them and sent them projects. Nomenclature of the verified instruments expanded up to 50 types, so that's good. They expanded the amount of instruments. They had no more than 60 long-term contracts for metrological provision at enterprises were concluded. That's pretty good. More than 60 long-term. Like, I don't know. They're not giving us the exact number, but I mean, 60 is nice. The fact that they do have long-term contracts means that they will be there in a certain aspect. And for a short period of time, the GMP Center became the largest private regional metrology center. Okay, I wasn't expecting that, but I guess that's good for them. I mean, they just started, and at one point they were the largest private metrology center, which is pretty cool. So that means they're doing something right. So basically, the existing enterprises constitute not more than 20% of the services demanded in the market. So that means that the old people don't have a large market share, and that means that GMP can easily slide in and take market share because it's not already taken by large players. And especially in the private industry, there are many metrological centers. It's mostly state-owned in Russia. So additionally, with the certification after the first year of work, after the first 3 years of work, they have to be recertified every 5 years. So the Russian legislature and the Russian authorities come in and check it out, make sure they're doing everything all right, and then they will be recertified if they are. Additional testing, and then the analysis of GMP's project in the activities region. So that test just constituted over 3 months. So according to this test, results found that the metrology agencies operating on the territories of regions under study constitute, on average, not more than 15% from the necessity of the services market. So basically, I mean, a reoccurring point is that large players do not exist. So GMP can easily come in here and get a lot of contracts because the demand for metrology services significantly exceeded the supply. Simple economics. The 9th step, summarizing the results of the pilot project. So additionally, they visited the metrology institutes, talked to scientists, and wanted to see what young people wanted to do and what projects they wanted to work on, what dreams they had. So that's for like their clusters, their innovative clusters that they also wanted to make. So I guess that was successful too. But the subject of metrology is in the extraction of blah blah blah. We already went over that. It's basically making sure that measurements are being carried out properly. In study of measurements, you measure things properly. Measurements is the basis of everything. It's not really the basis of everything, but I mean, measurements, if you're going to make something, you have to take proper measurements, mathematical measurements. I mean, measurements are just math, so an extension, and it is an extension of life, because that's what math is mainly. But yeah, metrology, important, know that. And it's in every aspect, every project, every company, everyone does it. GMP services will include testing of medical devices, testing of food industry products, oil and refining products, everything, a lot of different things. There's a bunch of examples, you can read them yourself, but like I said, metrology is in everything. They will be able to also test equipment, measuring techniques, standards, everything inside of the units that like production goes on. They can also get certifications to go and be the watchdogs of those and make sure that people are doing them right too. So that's pretty awesome. They can compete with the state directly. And I mean, if they just do it better and get more contracts, like that's doing the whole state of Russia a favor. And wherever their clusters are, that's doing that whole place a favor. So here they're just going into okay, so here they're saying that the scale of costs for obtaining reliable measurements results evidenced by the following figures. In 1998, the cost of these works in Russia was 3.8% of the GNP. So metrology constituted for 3.8% of the GNP in Russia in 1998. And now that figure is reaching up to 9 to 12% of GDP, and that's a huge number. I didn't even know it was that big. That seems like it's a lot. I don't know where they're getting these numbers from, to be honest, but that's a significant number. 9 to 12% of GDP is a huge number. That's in like the trillions of dollars. So yeah, I'd like to see where they got those facts from, but if that is true, then this project's going to be a very interesting project going forward. But the GMP project is aimed at the Russian and international trade market in the amount of what? Wow. So they're going to 1.5 trillion plus growth of 10% a year. Wow, that's a huge market. And that much growth, that's wow. If that is actually true, I don't know exactly where they're getting these facts from. Like I said before, I'd like to see where they are getting their facts from. But if that is true, that's very powerful, and that offers a huge potential. But also remember that there is competition already existing out there. So we'll see how they're going to be rolling out, and that's obviously going to be in their strategy and all that sort of stuff. But it's not only theirs in their industry to take. There's also competition in America, Europe, Asia, other countries. So here they're just going into different examples of ways metrology can ways demand can increase in metrology. I'm not going to really go into that. The volume of innovative technology clusters. Over time, the clusters will become scientific platform for generation and implementation of, thousands of stunning projects. Okay. I'd like to see what projects they're working on. That'd be interesting. I don't want them to work on random projects. I want to see how much funding they're going to be allocating to projects. I want to see how much, what's like the maximum funding a project can have, or like, the ways they're organizing that sort of stuff would be interesting to learn. So clusters are successful, effective, profitable business strategy. So yeah, they're making money and they're going to be putting money back into their people, which is nice. I like that. Advancing the world as well as advancing the business. Opening a market in Russia. So back in okay, so in Russia in 2011, they fixed the metrology industry, and basically they allowed the doors to open for accredited commercial organizations. So private companies can start building metrology centers in Russia, and GMP is basically one of the early ones. There aren't many other ones out there, and they don't have much market share. So GMP is going to be coming in hot. So that's cool. That's definitely their timing is done right. Yeah, see, so they're saying that there's no competition so far. The state regional centers for standardization, metrology, and testing have a share of more than 87% in the market of metrological services. So that means that the state is operating right now, and the state usually isn't the most efficient. So when competition enters the market, that's going to result in both becoming competition existing in the market, and one trying to become better than the other. So that'll be better for the consumers and the economy as a whole. So the high concentration of presence in one player is due to the following factors. So in 2009, legislative basis for real competition between blah 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 was laid. So ever since then, it's just been advancing. So there was need for trading experts. They're taking care of those. They're making more centers, training more people, and basically it's a work in progress. So now they're allowed to play, so they are playing. Keep on going on. So 70 countries of the world. So their plan is to establish 200 GMP centers in 70 countries. And they're going to be opening them in the Asia Pacific region, So here they're saying that more than 40% of the world's population lives here, and more than half the world's gross product is produced here. More than 50% of the world's trade volume is sold. So there's a lot of potential for business here. And also they're going to be looking to enter the European market as well. Here they just go into a bunch of stuff. I'm going to be skipping all of this stuff. I don't think it's really relevant to the investors. Okay, so the long-term project goals. 2014, startup of project. 2015, licensing. 2016, pilot phase started. 2017, the ICO is going on. Investment attraction expansion for the project team. 2018, next year, once they get the funding, they're going to be establishing 86, or from 2018 to 2020, they're going to be rolling them out. 86 GMP centers in the Russian Federation, the creation of the first cluster in Moscow. 2021, beginning of testing and certification of production for the military industrial complex. So that's what they're going to be focusing on then. 2021, 18 GMP centers of Commonwealth of Independent Countries, and the creation of a cluster in Astana. 2020-2024, obtaining international certificates, preparing to enter Europe and Asia. And then by 2032, wow, that's a long-term project. Common use of the innovative GMP products. By then they're going to be set. But wow, that's a nice 10-year project that they're going to be working on. I hope they get the funding, but wow, long vision. We'll see how they get it done. But short-term goals is that for a period of 9 to 12 months, they're going to be running it. So search for premises at GMP centers, get contracts, order equipment, training metrologists, finalizing testing of centers, testing and analysis of each GMP center, just a bunch of stuff short term that they want to get done. I like how they are thorough in everything that they do and detailed. So pre-planned short-term goals for 12 months regardless of the ICO project. So they're going to be expanding. And November 2017, where we're heading. So they're going to be searching new premises for a new GMP center. They're going to be preparing that, and then in January through March, they're going to be monitoring and increasing the number of mobile laboratories, purchase of equipment to expand the scope of accreditation. Okay. So they're just going to be looking for a bunch of GMP centers in all of next year and getting everything set for them to build those centers, I guess. And then here they go into their team. We went over their team earlier on. And now we're going to be looking at their token details. The planned amount of investments required for the successful implementation of the project is equivalent to $450 million US, which is heaps of money, almost $500 million. And that's just according to the preliminary estimate. Let's just keep on moving on. So basically, if they get 70 to 100% of the investment, they will be so all of the stages of the roadmap will be a go, and this will be starting immediately after. This will be starting immediately after the ICO, and they will be generating all the clusters and everything that they're expecting. So $450 million is a lot of money they can start with. That gives them a lot of flexibility. So if they raise 40 to 70% of the month, I propose an insignificant increase in the time needed for implementation of the certain stages of the product and reduces the number of projects on which to cluster. Okay, so this much. This means that they won't be reducing the amount of clusters, but they will still be moving on with the metrology centers. And then the slow path, up to 40%. Significant increase in all phases by at least 3 times. Wow. Due to harnessing all of the resources of the project to create and develop necessary material and technical base. So then they're going to be moving money from multiple areas to one area so they can start the actual business, and that'll mess everything up heavily. Increase at least by 3 times. So if they do raise less than 40% of the money, that's not going to be good. Or if they raise around 40%, you're going to be opening your eyes and seeing what they're saying. Do they have any other ways to solve that, or do they have any other plans, or what are they going to do going forward? And that will definitely translate to the value of their token. So here they're just going over the growth of the token cost. Basically, in conclusion, what are the investors getting? The GMP has a strong foundation. It's really an existing project, which is true. They already started one center, and that center did good. Great potential for scaling up, which is also true, especially in Russia. They're going to be doing well. We'll see how they do when they go to Asia and Europe. But the fact that they are going to go there to those markets and penetrate those markets, and that is a plan, that is good. First, they're focusing on the Russian markets, which is excellent. So one step at a time, which is good. One project equals thousands of projects. So this is in regards to their scientific platform for generation of new projects, inviting scientists to do projects that they want to do and just get funded, which is pretty awesome. I hope they succeed in that. That sounds promising. And one project means permanent profit. So the GMP project will become owner of intellectual property products. So once these scientists make innovations and inventions, whatever they make, 60% of royalty revenues will be distributed pro rata among the holders of GMP tokens annually. So that's pretty awesome. If they find something really interesting and it's making a shit ton of money, then we're going to be getting that money too as a GMP token holder. So you're directly investing in these products, which is pretty awesome. So the stages of the ICO, right now we are in we're about to enter the first round. So from October 30th to November 27th, not less than 220 million GMP tokens, 45 cents for one token. Right now it's 15 cents for one token, so you're going to definitely want to get in now, the pre-sale already ended, so we're just waiting up for the first round. Second round starts on February 12th, goes to March 12th, not less than 100 million tokens. So the price of that will be $1.35 per one GMP token in Ethereum. And then the third round, 50 million tokens and $4.01. So if you buy in at 15 cents and hold it out all the way to May 7th, and they're selling it at $4.05 and people are buying them, then you're going to be making at least $4.05 by the time that would make sense by the time it hits the exchanges. So these are a few details on how to get involved with the token. I'm not going to go into that. You can visit their website and check all that out. But U.S. citizens or citizens of the Republic of Singapore cannot participate. But that's all they have in their white paper. In conclusion, I want to just end it by saying that GMP Global Metrology Project has a lot of potential, and the project makes sense. It makes sense because there isn't much competition in Russia, and they're one of the few starting private organizations, and they're decentralized. So I like it because the people who own the tokens own the projects that are going on, and it's not a private company. It's pretty revolutionary if you think about it. They're going to be making money, and they're going to be translating that money into scientific projects and innovations, inventions, all that sort of stuff, which is going to be awesome if they do raise the full amount of money, which I hope they do. They will be able to achieve all those things. In Russia, they definitely will be penetrating the market, and the first GMP center showed that there's significant growth in the market, and it looks promising. Just the way that they're selling their tokens, if you do buy in their tokens early and they do sell in the later rounds, if they sell out in the first few months, or if they do sell out in the whole month period, by the time they hit exchanges, they will be valued at that, as the project did raise the full amount of money. Hopefully they do. We'll see how it goes. But with that being said, that's all I have on the GMP Global Metrology Project. Their website details and things of that nature will be in the comments.